Is this protest motivated by opposition politics?
In a media briefing with the Nigerian press to update on the activities of the Nigerian military, the Director of Defense Media Operations, Major General Edward Buba, said that the military will not stand by and watch people plunge Nigeria into anarchy, that to the best of their intelligence, they know that the organizers of the protests are planning to implement and replicate what happened in Kenya. And to the best of their knowledge, the protest in Kenya is still ongoing, with no resolution in sight, that no one should wish such to happen in Nigeria. He said many things, but one bizarre thing in all that he said is that why is the Nigerian military getting involved in a protest? This is the job of the police, not that they shouldn't get ready in case the police invites them to come and help them to quell the crisis in any situation that it degenerates to that level, but it's supposed to be the primary job of the police because it is a peaceful protest. In Kenya, a court ordered the army to stay off the protest, that they should never be involved in the protest, that is the job of the police. In Nigeria, the army is the one threatening Nigerians. Maybe it's not a threat, but this is a veiled warning to anyone that is planning to protest, whether people are planning to cause havoc or anything. But when the army is talking in this manner, know that they might come down hard, they might use brute force to quell the protest, whether it is peaceful or not. Major General Buba also acknowledged the circumstances right now, the suffering and the hardship Nigerians are facing, that it is quite different compared to any other time in Nigeria's history when they embarked on nationwide protest. So this is an acknowledgement of the truth that Nigerians are going through serious hardship right now, and you can't stop them from protesting no matter the threats. We've seen all the threats from the government. They've tried persuading Nigerians through their traditional rulers and religious leaders. They've used governors who tried to persuade Nigerians not to bother about protesting, that they should give the government some time to implement changes. But instead of spending all this time and energy, why not address Nigerians directly and say, hey, out of all your demands, we are implementing so and so immediately. Will that not convince Nigerians to say, we've not even embarked on the protest and they are already cooperating with us? Which one will achieve the objective faster instead of beating around the bush? Do they really think that threatening Nigerians not to come out will stop them to come out to protest? Have they not learned anything during the military era when they were threatening people, openly shooting directly at protesters, but people were still trooping out en masse to protest against the military, and eventually the military left power for civilians? If Nigerians weren't afraid of the military in the 90s, how are they going to be afraid of civilians who might use the military against the Nigerian people? All the military personnel they will deploy that day must remember one thing. The protesters are your brothers and sisters who are simply demanding for a better life for you and for them. It is very easy to identify troublemakers. Nigerians do not want to make trouble. If they wanted to make trouble, they would have done it since last year. From August 1st to August 15th, Nigerians want to troop out to express their desire for a better country, so that the government will do the right thing and stop the unbearable hunger and poverty ravaging the land. Let's take a listen.
I would say that this brief will be incomplete without a word on the much talked about planned nationwide strike. Essentially, I will say that there are several factors to examine in the planned nationwide protest. It is good to examine the motivation. Is this protest motivated by opposition politics? Is this protest motivated by independent parties? Is this protest motivated by sovereign interference? Or is this protest motivated by terrorist groups? Also, is this protest motivated by any numbers of organizations that are fed on the frustrations of Nigerians to create this situation? I will say that for us in the military, the Constitution is clear as to how and when the military get involved and our responsibility to the nation. On the other hand, I will further say that while citizens have a right to peaceful protest, they do not have a right to mobilize for anarchy and unleash terror. It is easy to see that the contemporary context of the planned protest is to shadow the happenings in Kenya, which I must say is violent, and add that it remains unresolved. Already, we have detected some unscrupulous elements bent on hijacking the planned protest with the aim of making it violent. Many are therefore following in ignorance. For instance, there are indications that if you possess a smartphone, if you possess a car, if you possess a shop, if you own a house, or even use air condition in your house, you have been labeled a target. Other targets that have been labeled include places of worship, businesses, markets, ethnic groups, and members of other political parties, among other items and areas targeted. Accordingly, the level of violence being envisaged can only be described as a state of anarchy. The armed forces on its part will not stand by and allow anarchy to befall our nation. This is because we have seen wars and have witnessed anarchy in countries in which we have operated, particularly during the times of ECOMOG or during our peacekeeping operations in various countries. I believe that some people out there may fantasize about war or state of anarchy, thinking that it is like what they see in the movies. I assure you that war or a state of anarchy is not what you see in the movies. It involves real people, real situations, and real life. A situation of anarchy or war should not be fantasized. People lose loved ones and everything they toil for or possess in the course of war or anarchy. And I will put it simply by saying that horrible and ugly things happen in such situations. We must never, as a people, bring it upon ourselves. On the whole, it must be said that the timing and the present atmosphere of hardship in the country is different from other times when protests were held in the past in this country. It must also be said that if you ignite the fire, there is no telling how far that fire will burn. We must allow cool heads to reign and give the government the opportunity to further remedy the situation and make our nation flourish again. Thank you very much.